Much fanfare was made of the trial, more than I would have dared to hope. It seems my luck has been returning of late. The High-Bloods surely intended to make a spectacle of my conviction. They filled the court block with peasants ravenous for the comeuppance of a blue blood. I wasn't about to deny them what they came for. It was kind of the authorities to supply me with a phalanx of such impressionable spectators. The weak wills were nearly as thick in the air as the rust in their veins. Funny how my other senses seemed to have peaked since exchanging glances with the dragon. What an extraordinary specimen. How I've come to covet the creature since it ruined my fleet. I know too well the whispers of a dangerous new infatuation in me beckon, but I digress. It was simple enough to nudge the hostility of the Low-Bloods from one aristocrat to another. The subjugators could not have been pleased, but nor could they have been altogether unamused, I would expect. I wonder if this was part of their unfathomable game. I'll never understand their riddles. I only regret I didn't get to hear the opening statement the neophyte had prepared against me. The case she compiled from all that evidence she burned must have been damning. I bet her remarks would have stung worse than when she severed my arm. She certainly would have shown me greater mercy by taking the other instead. Alas, I mocked to disguise the extent of my regret. Had my escape not necessitated her demise, she would have made a lovely rival. If she'd only discarded her childish preoccupation with justice, we might have made a striking scourge. Had we inched blacker, we'd have torn red miles across the land and sea. Unfortunately, the only miles to be found through her bureaucratic calling were those of red tape. When so ensnared, one is eventually bound to be choked. With the court block cleared, all that remained to obstruct my freedom was his honorable tyranny himself. Upon reflection, Red Glare showed the foresight of a true seer in thieving my arm before the trial. It permitted a fair fight. Though I was free, I had no fleet. No matter. With the Gamlignants decimated, I'd embraced the turn in fortune and pledged to put my sea-grifting ways behind me. With any luck, the skies will be my future. My thoughts again returned to that dragon. But first, I was in need of temporary refuge. I sought it with the expatriate. He owed me for the sweeps of protection I provided after his brazen defiance of the High-Bloods. It was perhaps the only such courageous stand ever taken against a superior by one of his supercilious pedigree, and I'd not have bothered sticking my neck out for another. But the admiration he'd won naturally wore thin as he persistently bemoaned his treason and banishment, and I was saddened to find this habit holding strong even now. I wonder if he still believes she was worth it. Repairing my arm would go a little further in squaring his debt with me. Even if I came with both intact, I might have ripped one off and put him to the task just to halt his blubbering. Darklear was always a skilled machinist, and the work proved an adequate distraction. So pacified, he listened to what I had to say about my recent travails with the law and Pyralspite, and what I'd come for in truth, the treasure he'd been keeping safe for me. I cradled the oracle in my synthetic hand, as if appraising by weight the mystic qualities it still concealed. With my vision eightfold seared away, I was as blind to its secrets as the old doctor was to its present whereabouts. I'd learned to keep it cloaked from the awareness of the man who once called me his protégé, a backhanded term of endearment from a smug manipulator. Locating his so-called dark pockets was the only gambit I had in countering his milk-tongued doublespeak. The expatriate, for indiscernible reasons, seemed naturally surrounded by such a void in the doctor's awareness, and so was uniquely fit to inherit the orb. The doctor could not see his treasure, nor I into it. I considered what to do with it for a while. Should I find Pyralspite by consulting with the Oracle, as I'd done so often to steal fortune from my adversaries? I guessed exploiting some technological means of gazing through its surface may have been simple enough, but I hesitated. Every expedient granted by its counsel, though never instantly, came at a price. Knowing his nature, I'm surprised I only now recognize it as yet another instrument of his spurious benevolence, dangerous by way of selective divulgence. The sense of infallibility his oracle brought me was superficial, and in hindsight weakened my readiness. Knowing my fate so far in advance, I took Red Glare's threat lightly. The greatest mistake I have ever made was asking the orb when I would die. But as I revisited the prophecy surrounding this unfortunate query, something struck me. I thought of the man I would have as a matesprit centuries from now, who was said to command an army of beasts, the one it called the Summoner. If my obsession with the dragon should continue to burn for so long, would he be the one to assist me in taming it? I did not have enough knowledge to ask the right questions when I had the opportunity. Were that the case, I might have asked if it would be his rare abilities of communion that would bring Pyralspite under control. Would it be on account of my influence? And if so, would I exert this influence by taking his will or winning his heart? These are details I would have given no second thought in drawing from the orb, my curiosity a force usually too much to quell. But now, I have thought of the Summoner often. I have been troubled to know that as one so common-blooded he could not possibly have hatched yet, nor will he wriggle from the caverns for many sweeps. So I must have patience to take up my role in his story of heroism. It is a tale which reads to me as though lifted from a child's story, yet I know I'd be a fool to doubt its veracity entirely. He would rise through the ranks of the cavalry-reapers and assume command, having proven the most skilled and fearless of them. He would exhibit a remarkable pupation, the sort only recorded in myth, growing, or perhaps simply revealing, a striking pair of wings. His army, thus inspired, would spearhead a major rebellion, surely one at least on the scale of the sectarian revolt crushed by the High Bloods, who thereafter forbade its mention, or any invocation of the heretical symbols at all, even in private journals. Which is why I will stick to the fable of the Summoner, and not risk another execution with even oblique reference to the compelling tale of the Sufferer. Resolution to the Summoner's mutiny is foggy, as I only understand what has been related to me through the brief answers I thought to solicit. Ultimately, the ire of the Condess would be such that in the settling dust of the conflict, she would banish all from the homeworld except the young. She would scatter all who reached maturity to the stars to fight her wars, I presume to keep them occupied, existing in a less centralized state from which such a coup may arise. This is still an incredible notion for me to consider, and I cannot imagine how she would come to enforce such an upheaval in our civilization. Though I suppose she will have on her side the advantage of an unparalleled lifespan, and the leverage extended by the hideous psychic prongs of her deep undulating monstrosity. That is, until it chooses another little witch to serve. Nevertheless, I take the prediction as truth, and find it amusing that a homeworld dominated by children will be the great Summoner's legacy. One of them, at least. More importantly, and less amusingly, his legacy will be my demise. You see, I first learned his name when I asked who would be the one to kill me. I have never spoken nor written of him out of contempt for the prophecy, but do so here in my final entry for this journal. I took this to be a pitiable fate, and scoured the orb for any means of escaping it, or at least to salvage a little dignity from the tale of my downfall. Alas, it had no consolation for my vanity. But as I sit here deciding what to do with the damnable little sphere, I understand my error. It was not in failing to chart a course through future events to turn my fortune's tide even so many sweeps from now. It was in believing the future was mine to know, and fortune mine to control. If this hero is meant to breathe life into my embittered heart, and if he is to earn the right to run it through, then so be it. For him I will commit to this page my highest expectations, and for what precious uncertainty is left in my future, I renew my vigorous anticipation. The oracle I will resolve to part with. I will conceal it in a crypt bearing the sign of the expatriate, with a map to its location hidden in this journal. To whomever finds it, be wary, for the truth it tells may leave its new keeper blind as I was, though no more.
Flip.
Hey, Red Glare. Nice outfit.
Same to you, Vriska. As much as it pains me to admit, your fruity orange fairy suit smells delicious.
Thanks! I see you've finally wised up and started taking this rivalry seriously. It was hard to antagonize you properly while you refused to get in character.
I'm not in character. This is serious business, Vriska. See, I brought my deadly cane sword and my gold coin and everything.
Yes, I can see that. So you've come for revenge, then? I thought we settled all this a long time ago.
No, not revenge. Justice. For the despicable murders of our innocent friends.
Murders? Like, plural?
Vriska, please, do not try to deny it. I found the evidence. Tavros, Nepeta, even Gamzee? I mean, really, Vriska, Gamzee? Ugh.
Gamzee isn't dead, you dope. He flipped out or something, and now he's on Well, yeah, okay. There was, like, one murder I was responsible for. You know, Tavros? That was me. I guess. But that's it! He's the only one I killed, just that one guy.
Both know you can't beat Jack. All that will happen is you will leave him here and he will kill us all. He will follow your sugary pixie trail with his keen canine snout. I have already seen this consequence in my mind's eye.
Fascinating. Why don't you tell me your terms already? Forget my pixie trail. At this rate, my snoring will lead him to us. Lol.
What I propose is simple. One flip. Heads, you stay. Scratch, you go.
You're kidding, right? You want luck to decide this? Maybe you forgot who you're dealing with. I am the thief of light. You really expect me to lose a simple coin flip? I've got all the luck, remember?
I did not forget. What will it be, Marquise?
Just flip the fucking coin, neophyte.
Next. The disc is badly damaged. You can no longer play Homestuck. Quit. You are forced to quit. You will not be able to resume playing unless you can repair the scratch in the disc. You will need to seek the service of someone who is capable of fixing a scratch. A scratch doctor, if you will. Visit Doctor.
You rang? That was a joke. Of course you didn't. I don't have a doorbell, remember?